What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another replay cast here in Heroes Hearth Warcraft 3. My name is Kendric, and it's my pleasure to welcome back two awesome players in this replay. On the right-hand side here in Echo Isles, we have Please from Russia, the Night Elf player, duking it out against OrcWorker. No surprise here, you know, playing the Orcish race. And we're going to see these two duke it out. Both players really worth mentioning in many different ways. Please, for example, he's been part of the fight night that we have going on in this channel with Grubby and myself casting. If you want to see how that match against Hitman worked out, you better make sure to check out our latest fight night. It was actually happening only 2 weeks ago, and it was quite the fiery match. I'm not going to spoil the result, of course, but it's definitely worth watching if you're in for additional Warcraft 3 entertainment, of course. Please, from Russia, he is a very well-known player. He's been in the scene for ages. Like Grubby told us during the fight night, actually, he's been a practice partner for him over all the years. And he's very well known, Please, that is, I would say, to stick to a certain style and not to be very flexible about it. You know, he's not one of those players like Law Light or Foggy who have a variety of styles in their repertoire. Instead, I think Please is a more conservative player. He sticks to what he thinks works best, and he's trying to refine that playstyle to the best of his ability. So we're going to see a Keeper opening against Orc that is fairly standard. Every now and then people like to open up with a Demon Hunter as well. It kind of depends on what playstyle you have. Keeper, of course, very good when it comes to massing tier 1 units, and of course providing some difficulties for Orc players in that regard. Now, what is the Orc player going to respond with? OrcWorker here going for a Blade Master, the standard choice as well. Coming in a little late though, so I don't think he'll be in any way, shape or form able to stop Please from taking a little bit of creeping advantage. Of course, has the Ancient of War unlock. Also has a fancy scenario skin for the Keeper. Looks very good in my opinion. So yeah, this is, by the way, the first episode of the Kendric show, of the Kendric series that we're doing on Reforged, as you can without a doubt tell already. So pretty exciting times, you know. Don't want to go into too many details, but it's just gonna take a little bit of, you know, a little bit of time to get used to all the graphics, a little bit of time to get used to all the flow. But you know, I've been realizing that myself. The more I play and the more I view, the more I observe. With the new graphics, the better it gets, really, like week after week. And I think a lot of the complaints that people out there might have with this new style of Warcraft 3 is partially deriving from the fact that it takes a little bit of time to get accustomed to everything, just like it once in a while, you know, all those years ago took with the original graphics. Now we see OrcWorker, by the way, going for the infamous marketplace creep, but already Please is here to basically see what's happening, and he goes in for the entangle. Level 2 Keeper, by the way, and takes down OrcWorker's Blade Master without really breaking much of a sweat here. So really good timing by Please, of course. He knows exactly how to rotate around the map, you know, take that creep over here and go for that level 2 as fast as possible, and it really paid off for him. Splendid opening, really, for the Night Elf, who is, without any interruptions, without any breaks now, going for his natural expansion slot. He knows, of course, that right now his Orcish opponent has no way to interrupt him here. I'm actually surprised that he doesn't immediately pull a Wisp to maybe build a second base, because that would be a good timing maybe to still go for some sort of fast expansion. Of course, not really fast at that point anymore, but, you know, Huntresses are now in production, very stable, very sturdy. The Blade Master's level 3, level 2 even, I mean, is in no vicinity really here. Also had to invest some early replenishment from a Clarity Potion. So yeah, what is OrcWorker's response going to be here? Of course, the reason why he couldn't TP out to safety is because most Orc players sell their TP scroll in the beginning so they can go for a more aggressive start. And if only he had the Staff of Teleportation earlier, right? He would have been safe, because you can time it, so you use it after the entangle so you don't get interrupted, and then teleport back to safety. For now, though, OrcWorker, he is scouting things out. Please is finally sending a Wisp down here. Not sure if that's just for scouting himself. I don't think we're going to see an expansion in anytime soon, otherwise he would have already done it. So for now, let's see, how many AOWs do we have? Just one. We're definitely used to seeing double AOW production. Actually, he builds the Tree of Life right now. So, never mind then. Of course, then one Ancient makes total sense, because you're likely not going to have enough resources anyways to keep up double facility production. So, another skirmish in the middle, another altercation. Of course, level 3 Keeper is vastly out-leveling the Blade Master here. Beautiful Scout, beautiful Sentinel here with the Entangle. If he goes Invis now, I think he should still be in range of the Owl, so he tries to back out, peace out, in the nick of time. You're really well done. Tier 2 now already here for the Orc player and goes for the Shadowhunter. What else? You know, if you don't go Shadowhunter against Night Elf these days as an Orc, you're living a dangerous life. Very dangerous, especially when your opponent tries to go for a lot of Huntresses. Oftentimes, your Serpent Wards are just a necessity. They're just so important. Now, it looks like OrcWorker, because his heroes are so far behind him, because of his units being relatively low in number, I don't think he's going to be in any way, shape, or form to kick this expansion. He doesn't even have the chance to harass with your Blade Master or with his Blade Master and then let the Shadowhunter solo creep. He basically is contained in his main base. And look at the body blocks coming in from Please. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Even going in with the Alchemist, of course, here. The Poison Ivy takes down the second hero without really breaking any sweat. With great ease, it looks like Please is reading his Orcish opponent like an open book. Now loses a Huntress, though. Gets a little bit too deep. The peons in the burrow already at the ready. But what is the Orc really going to do when the Night Elf opening looks just this strong? The Gnolls here, nothing is being left to OrcWorker. OrcWorker, by the way, such a promising name really in the European scene. Grubby and I actually thought about inviting him to Fight Night as well. However, unfortunately, it didn't work out back then, but he's definitely a player that we have on our radar, and who knows, man, maybe invite in the near future. By the way, that's very important for us, both Grubby and myself. If you're here and have a very special player, you have a particular player that you guys want to see on the Fight Night in a best-of-5 format to duke it out for the big prize money, then you can always let us know, either on the YouTube comments, you can tweet at Grubby or myself. Basically, there's no limit, you know? Always make sure to get in contact, to get connected, and we're very much there to listen to your feedback. Now, this is a cute little move by OrcWorker. What he does here, he can't really cancel the Tree of Life anymore, you know, and he couldn't do that in the past either. But what he can do is he can cancel the Entangled Gold Mine and cause it to reconstruct over and over and over again. So essentially, this gold mine is not really doing anything, and it's almost like Please is still in one base, so this is a really cool move. Now, there's plenty of Huntresses, though. That's what I was going to say. There's a bunch of Owls here. Very many trees nearby, so OrcWorker needs to get the hell out of Dodge and get to safety. All this, the distraction maneuver, of course, buys tons of time for the Shadowhunter to finally get that much-needed level 2. See, OrcWorker's getting dangerously close to the Night Elfin base here. Full mana on both Night Elf heroes, really, so this is a dangerous game still. Does have enough mana to almost go into another Windwalk. Does also have a Staff of Teleportation, so this time, unlike in the first couple of minutes, he is more than safe. Definitely don't want to use that Blade Master now. Really, I think every move that the Orc makes in this matchup, especially after having a little bit of a hiccup in the early game, is just so crucial. And I remember talking to Hitman about that as well, when he played against Night Elves. He said that from the Orc side of things, you just have to play almost a perfect game. You know, it's so easy to really lose your step, to lose your stride against a Night Elf. If you get creepjacked here, if you get caught in a sticky situation, then with the Entangle and the trees and the Huntresses, things can escalate really quickly here. No TP scroll. Can OrcWorker actually fight his way out of this misery? There's a lot of Shamans here. The Shadowhunter, level 2, close to level 3 this time, is likely not going to make it, but the counter damage on the Keeper is good. The level up, the saving grace, question mark, almost said the exclamation mark. No, he survived with just a nick of health left. Great save for OrcWorker. Could this be the stabilizing factor that he was looking for? Now, the expansion for Please is finally running. Only 4 Wisp in the gold mine, though. Sometimes players don't see that, and that can really accumulate to a larger mistake. And finally, we have the Shadowhunter close to where he needs to be. Level 3, level 4, ideally, so you have level 2 Healing Wave and level 2 Snakes. This is definitely what you want to have in an ideal situation, but mana is rather low right now for the Shadowhunter. Let's see what's going to happen here. Have an Orc coming through. Counter expansion is something Orc players really like to do. They go in for the aggression while building an expansion at the back. And keep in mind that Orc expansions, they take so long compared to other races. It's oftentimes the Achilles heel of an Orc player when they can't equalize and pull even in terms of base number. We also have a Troll Berserker here coming in from the Mercenaries. Definitely a strong addition to the army with piercing damage against the sheer mass of Huntresses, really. We don't see anything else, I think, in the base. No, just more Huntresses. some more Moonwells coming up, some more upgrades coming in. What are these Huntresses currently sitting at, by the way? Huntresses are sitting at 2-1 upgrades. Solid. Solid, soon 2-2. And I think Please maybe actually wants to time his attack or his defense to as much as possible so he can then use the upgrade in full effect. Nice Wisp explosions here in the back line. This is definitely not what OrcWorker wanted this fight to start. He really likes to kick this expansion though. This is a huge win, but his Shamans are exposed right now. The healing wave needs to come through. Very important here, but already look at the low mana count here, really, on everything that is Orcish. The Shadowhunter has to use a potion right now, has to go for it, has to keep those healing waves up and running. Grunts, so low in health. The Huntresses are just cleaving through the Orcish forces here. Healing Spray coming through. Counter healing now for Please. This is a really good choice, a really good build with this Alchemist, of course, to counter the healing of the Orc player. And once again, the Shadowhunter getting surrounded, getting encircled, cannot fight his way out this time. Level 3 for the Blade Hunter. Just sure and pure hero focus coming in this time. Purge on the Keeper. But what is OrcWorker doing right now? Actually, this fight is not going as poorly as I thought it would. It looks like Please, the Russian Night Elf, wasted most of his time onto killing the heroes, and all of his Huntresses, it seems almost, were taken down. So this is a trait that I think OrcWorker wants to have. Definitely a great trait, because all of his efforts really in the natural to build up the second expansion, or to build that first expansion of the second base, they're now going to be very fruitful. And you can definitely get your Shadowhunter back in time to defend this. He barely lost any Shamans despite them being so out of control and out of position, really. Oh, this Lightning Shield, I'm not so sure about that. You definitely want to be careful. Gets purged, though, gets dispelled easily here, coming through. The Keeper now in desperate need to maybe use the Staff of Preservation. That was really important. You cannot afford to lose any more heroes. And you cannot afford to really lose those units either. Nice Shadow Meld coming through. No powder, no dust to really reveal them again. So, man, OrcWorker. What a nice turnaround, you know? After struggling so much in the early stages of the game, losing your Blade Master, losing very many units, at that mercenary camp where he lost the Shadowhunter, then again, you know, that constant pressure from Please, it really seemed to pay off. But now, it really seems like the moment the Shamans arrived in decent numbers, you know, you had that, you had the Lightning Shield ready, theoretically, but most importantly, you had the Purge ready to really deal with the Keeper. It really seems like that has turned into a different game right now. Shadowhunter almost back, level 3. And it really seems like now the tide has turned. Now, all of a sudden, Please, who was sitting so comfortably at 2 bases and could basically stall things out quite some time. Now he's forced to be the aggressor. He's forced to put on some pressure onto the Orc player as he is just going to cycle out of control. Once again, this time Lightning Shield on the Blade Master. Goes invisible. Tries to damage all these Huntresses. There are so many Shamans still in the back line. Shadowhunter only now reinforcing the ranks. Did go for a Clarity, so will have decent mana to fight with in this fight. Healing Wave coming through. Blade Master surrounded. Does have great tanking items, though. The Talisman of Evasion really coming into full effect here. But is it going to be enough? Is it going to be enough? I don't think so. Please, just right-click the hero forehead. That's sometimes all you have to do. And heroes are falling like flies for both players. Micro is of the essence right now. Keep your Shamans safe, of course. There's hardly any mana left on the Night Elf side, and there's hardly any Keeper left either, because both first heroes for either player are now falling. And Please, with this loss, has to tap out. He wasn't able to pull even the numbers anymore. His expansion was delayed. The Entangled Goldmine constantly harassed by OrcWorker, who miraculously fought his way back into this matchup. Not an easy feat when there's 2 Huntresses coming in your way. And it really shows like how oftentimes hero focus can benefit you. But if you put all your resources in that one focus basket and you just go blindly after the heroes, what are you going to do when there's no more Huntresses, when there's just Shamans and Grunts overwhelming? So definitely a very neck-to-neck match, in my opinion, very strongly played by OrcWorker, who once again shows his class and shows why he is considered to be one of the more frightening Orc players in Europe. And Please, you know, he showed us a good performance against Hitman on the fight night. This time against OrcWorker, it just wasn't enough. And what I mentioned at the beginning of this replay, that he has this very predictable playstyle, that he likes to stick to his builds and tries to refine them as much as possible. Perhaps it's time to switch things up every now and then. But anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed this very first Reforged replay cast. Really, really cool to see you guys tuning in week after week, not just on the Kendric series, but in all the videos, basically. The fight nights, the interviews, and whatever else comes your way. The podcast as well, Fast Expand. Thank you so much for being loyal on this channel and supporting it. I can't tell you how much that means to us. Yeah, so let's toast to a Reforged journey that hopefully last for months and years to come. I'll see you in the next video. Peace out until then. Have a great day.